it. I started with a tutorial on how to solve the Rubik's Cube, and then I went into video blogging, and then I let my audience control everything that I was doing with my life, and that was a disaster. And I got really depressed, and now I'm back to blogging. And I'm happy about it. And I'm also work for Fuse. I interview bands and things.
Hello, I'm Jack Howard. I co-run a channel called OMFG is Jack and Dean, where I make comedy sketches with the guy with the hair.
Such nice hair.
Yeah, oh, it's lovely.
Nice Dave. Nice Dave.
So yeah, we make comedy sketches, and that's it. I've never let my audience control my life, and don't plan to. So.
Well, they kind of do. In a roundabout way.
I'm Dean, and I do everything that he does, except the name's different. So, hello, I'm Dean. I run, well, I'm co-run OMFG is Jack and Dean. It's comedy stuff. Yeah, there you go. I don't really want talking about it.
Hello, my name is Corey Vidal. I've been making videos for close to 6 years now, and I had one fluke video go viral, and I've been milking it for years.
And isn't that the way to do it?
Yeah.
So, the panel is all about letting go of control and, kind of the balance of you and your audience. And I think there's no better place to start than with you, Dan. The king of going through the experiment of, because no one really did what you did, on YouTube. I can't think of somebody else that was like, I think I want to just let people control my life and see where that goes. And I think you learned a lot, and I don't think that it was a whole, was it a wholly negative experience?
No.
So what made you want to get into that, and at what point did you decide to move away from it, and what kind of, I guess the bigger question is, what have you learned from letting go and then taking back control?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I really wanted to do it because, I don't know, I'm always looking for the next step. Like, what do you do with this crazy thing that you have? I have this audience on YouTube, and so basically I got really into the whole concept of crowdsourcing, using the brains of thousands of people to try and make the best possible decision. And I put a lot of trust in that idea. Well, basically what I learned is that it doesn't matter how many high school kids you have telling you what to do with your life when you're beyond high school, they still don't know exactly what, but that's not entirely fair too. I also learned that, you would bite off more than you could chew. Yeah, did that answer it?
No? Would you do it all again?
Not anytime soon.
Obviously not anytime soon, but looking back on it, if you could, go in a time machine, would you go in a time machine and never do it again? Or are you happy that you had the experience and that you learned from it and that kind of everyone else on YouTube learned from it as well?
Yeah, well, I'm really happy that, I learned a lot. And a lot of it just about basic, being on your own life sort of shit. But if I went back, I would certainly do a lot of things differently. I would have had way less focus on the actual system because I was so absorbed in the crowdsourcing idea. In the talk that I gave at VidCon a couple years ago, announcing the whole thing, most of the talk was dedicated to how we are going to be making decisions. That's really a lot less important than I thought it would be. Basically, I could have just been like, hey audience, what should we do? And let them pick one thing and focus on that rather than trying to do 5 things at once. Little technical things would be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of giving control to the audience, no, I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
Because no matter who you are on YouTube, you have to give up some semblance of control, because if you're going to have an audience, you need to kind of have a very genuine relationship and have a genuine kind of exchange of ideas and conversation. So how much emphasis do you put on that? How much control now do you give to that genuine interaction versus your own brain, your own creativity?
Well, the one thing that Dan 3.0 was really, really fantastic for was actually coming to understand who it is that's watching. In the last...
Do you know your audience better now than you ever thought you would?
Oh, totally. At the last panel, people were saying, we don't look at Insider, we look at it a little bit. And I totally understand that and empathize with that because I was at that point. But doing Dan 3.0, when you do that though, it's easy to create delusions about who's watching and think that, people who are watching are just like me. And I guess starting YouTubing as high schooler, as you know, I was in the 13 to 17 demographic. I started out as a peer with my audience, and then actually, as Dan 3.0 was happening, as I was having these life experiences, learning how to be out on my own, there became this, that sets you apart from them a little bit. And so it was one of the most powerful experiences in terms of, coming to realize and accept, really, that I'm not a peer anymore, I'm more of a role model. And so to get to the question you asked, I mean, like, it really is, I view my relationship with the audience very similarly to a relationship with, a person. It's just kind of this gelatinous, massive monster of a thousands of people put together person.
And Jack and Dean, I want to move on to you from kind of what I was starting to say there. With all of your, comedy sketches and things, how much do you rely on the audience for inspiration and ideas in making your videos, or is it solely from your own creativity?
We don't need the audience.
Ouch! Unsubscribe.
We know who our audience is. We know what they like. It's a nice situation where we make something that we think is funny, and usually because we think it's funny, they found us and they think it's funny. And we know who they are. We don't really pander to them.
The only time we've ever pandered to the audience is when they dispute whether or not we're a couple or not.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you if we are.
So we don't really pander to them in that sort of sense of, oh, they seem to like these sort of jokes, let's continue doing that. Because like they were saying on the left panel, you get bored with doing the same sort of thing. So what we've tried to do, especially because we do make comedy sketches, we made sure that it's not a show. Like, we're not saying, like, here's a sitcom, here are the characters, let's see them develop throughout the certain videos that we upload.
So you focus more on the one-offs than the series?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So sometimes we'll switch the sort of straight man, funny man. Sometimes we'll switch that around. And every now and again, there's a comment that's like, I feel like you switched characters for this one. It's like, but we never said that that was it.
Right.
But so we kind of look at it and know what it is, but never really fully take it on board.
Okay.
In a certain creativity sort of standpoint.
Right. And you said, like, you know your audience. How do you know your audience? Like, what resources do you use? What tools do you use? How did you come to know your audience?
Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that.
Meet them in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's usually 14-year-old girls.
Yeah, we only usually upload maybe once or twice a month, but we use social networking to show that we're not dead. We're actually doing something.
So social networking, very important to you.
Oh yeah,
Incredibly
without a doubt.
important, yes.
Like, because we do upload so little, like, because we're busy with other things. Like, when we do that, we make sure that we make sure that they know that we're still doing stuff. We make sure that whenever we're making a video, Dean will always take a picture of us filming it, and then when I'm editing it, I'll always take a picture of me editing it. So then it kind of builds up the hype and makes them want to see it more.
Right.
So it kind of keeps them excited and on their toes, rather than just saying we're going to upload every week on this day. We feel like that would kind of get them too comfortable, and we could kind of get bored with that sort of thing. So we like to keep it that sort of way.
Keep them on their toes, I guess.
Yeah. And Corey, I feel the most senior member on the panel. You've been doing YouTube for so long. How do you? Because I feel like you've gone through a lot of different audiences. Like, a lot of people have come and gone and come, and how do you relate to an audience that might not be so static? It might be something that's kind of ever changing.
Well, I think it's important to note that some people here today, and a lot of people on YouTube, some of them are primarily YouTubers, and other people are video makers. And the Venn diagram of that tends to overlap. But I was making videos with my friends. They weren't successful, but I was making videos with my friends before YouTube existed. And when YouTube came around, that became a great way of sharing videos. But I find the question you can ask yourself is, if YouTube stopped, if you lost all your subscribers, if maybe everyone hated you or hated what you did, would you keep making videos? And the answer should be yes. And if that's the case, then your audience has no control over you. And that can be very freeing. The one video, I guess you could say that I'm known for, the Star Wars Acapella, when that went viral, we did have a conversation with Moose Butter, the guys who wrote it. Should we make more of these?
Right.
And we talked about it for months, and we ended up not doing it. Because I didn't want to be the Star Wars acapella guy. Because my whole life, I didn't want to make acapella videos. My whole life, I wanted to make videos
Right.
with my friends. And that was before YouTube existed, and maybe one day that will be after I'm doing YouTube. I'm still going to make videos. I would actually love if my audience was like me. And having a lot of subscribers I find is useless if they don't care about your content.
Right.
So I feel like I am a nerd, and I post videos about Star Wars, or Lost, or filmmaking, or the type of music that I like. And I'm a little crazy, but I like when people unsubscribe, because that means my numbers are more accurate. I want to know how many people actually want to watch my videos, and it frees me up to kind of do whatever I want, which changes probably on an hourly basis.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to jump up on one point you said towards the beginning of that was, if everything fell away, would you still be making videos? And you said the answer should be yes. I mean, my point is just, I'm not sure that I entirely agree with that, because, I mean, it depends on what you're doing.
Right.
Like, if you see yourself as a video maker, and I might be just nitpicking at like a word here, but like, for me, video has never been the focus of it. Like, I've never focused on like making something that's visually great. It's just, video is simply the medium that makes the most sense to communicate what I want to communicate with the audience that I have. So I don't know.
No, and collaboration is an extremely important part of it. But I think a lot of people in this room are probably a fan of my favorite YouTuber, Julian Smith. And his communication and his collaboration with his audience is way lower than most people.
Yeah.
And he could see himself evolving past YouTube, and said so at Playlist Live last year. Justin Bieber started as a YouTuber, but nowadays we wouldn't really call him as such. Now, I am not trying to think that my content or our content supersedes YouTube or is bigger than YouTube. At the same time, I wasn't making videos to try to be a filmmaker and go make a career out of it. Most of us were making YouTube videos for free before the partnership program existed. And I will continue making videos for free probably until the day I die. So money has nothing to do with it. And if everyone unsubscribed, I'm totally fine with that.
I kind of agree with that. I like the sort of like, in a way of, I actually kind of agree with it, because like if YouTube wasn't around, I don't know if I would be as motivated as a filmmaker. Like I don't see YouTube as like a stepping stone or anything like that. I kind of enjoy having the freedom to do whatever we want. But if I was growing up 20 years ago, where I had to show the films I made to my friends and family over and over again, they were just going, yeah, it's all right, yeah, when are you going to get a real job? But if they said that, then what would I have? I wouldn't be able to put it out to anyone. Or, like now I've got a fan base worldwide, which is incredibly insane. Like that would have never happened without that sort of platform. So if people unsubscribed, if we lost everything overnight, I think I would continue doing it, without a doubt, because I love it. But
well, and with that bit of clarification, I think I agree with what you say, with the one caveat that maybe instead of video, replace video with media.
Right.
Because like what I do is, I see myself more as just, you know, do commentary about things that are happening in the world, and video is simply, like my own voice is simply the medium that I'm the most comfortable with. But like if YouTube disappeared, I could see myself going into radio or something, not necessarily like video specifically, but yeah, I think we're all on the same.
So perhaps it's worth noting then that we don't get paid to tweet. Right?
So true.
You don't.
I wish. I wish. Do you know how many tweets I have? Oh.
So why do it? And the answer is because we love it, and we want to collaborate, we want to communicate with our audience, and that's a big part of it. But not everyone does.
But I think an interesting thing is that like I'm able to tweet so much because I have like YouTube as my job, and if I didn't have YouTube as my job, and if I had to like work kind of a stereotypical traditional 9 to 5, how much would that affect my social networking in general?
I don't know the audience in this room, but I think people who aren't partners, people who don't make money off of the internet, they all tweet. All of us. He keeks. There's 3 keekers and everyone else here tweets. And none of us get paid to use Facebook. We do it because we love it. Now, this doesn't need to be compared, but if you ask the question, do you get more joy reading comments or making videos? there's no right or wrong answer. But for me, I love making videos with my friends. That is the number one most important thing to me, and that's why I do it.
Right.
That's actually not true for everyone. And somebody like yourself,
I love
Dan,
making videos because I have no friends.
but your voice is different. You love crowdsourcing. You love working with people. You love networking. You love reaching a worldwide audience.
Right.
And we can have different motivations. And I think that's what's so freaking cool about it, is that we can all approach this a different way.
Exactly. Like
Because of what we
we all
love.
make different types of videos. Like a YouTuber isn't specifically something.
Right.
So like we make sketches where we don't talk to the audience, whereas
Right.
Dan is always addressing his audience.
And I think what we're really hitting on here is YouTube as a business versus YouTube as a hobby. Because if you are doing YouTube as a business, then there's things that are very important to you, like keeping an audience. Because if YouTube is a business for you, the end goal, you need to have views. You need to have a lot of views, be able to make the money. But if you're just doing YouTube as a hobby, audience is important, but you're a little bit freer. You're a little bit more free to kind of explore the different space. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. But all of the first subscribers I got subscribed to me when I wasn't making money. So when I start making money, if I change, am I then betraying those people who originally subscribed to me? If I change, then the answer is yes.
I think it's incorrect to make a distinction between job and hobby.
Right.
Like it's both. It's both at the same
I
time.
agree with that as well. Like we started to do this as a hobby, as something that was fun, and just because it is a job doesn't mean it should be something that is distinguished between what we started to be.
It's too much fun.
It is.
I mean, I just read a book called The Third Industrial Revolution, talking about how the internet has implications for society as a whole, and we don't need to get into all that. But
I need to have a book club meeting right now.
yeah, I mean, this could be a panel in and of itself. But I think that what we are experiencing on YouTube, I mean, media is the first real industry to feel the impact of the internet, like really dramatically changing it. And we're in the process of that right now. But like the future of all jobs affected by the internet is one where there is no distinction between job and hobby. We're all going to be doing what we like and having multiple revenue streams and blah, blah, blah. I'll make a blog about this in about a month.
No, and I didn't mean to say that YouTube is only like either or. It can absolutely both be job and hobby. But in creating kind of a successful YouTube channel, however you define that, there's got to be a big element of audience interaction and kind of serving your audience in a way. Because I mean, Corey, I feel like you're doing so many good videos, kind of teaching you. I don't know if teaching YouTube is the right word. Teaching video making, teaching. Right. Kind of just teaching. Like
right.
like I consider you very much like a teacher. Like if I want to learn something, I definitely will. I go to Corey Vidal videos. But those are not the videos that you started with.
Right.
How do you kind of? I guess does it even matter that you're a teacher now? Was it just something that was like, I want to do this now? It doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks, because this is I make videos and that's how I do it, and this is kind of how I'm going to run the channel and my life and that kind of thing.
I learned everything I learned through making a bunch of mistakes and through going to Google, typing it in, reading forums, reading blog posts, finding books, going to the library and getting a book. They still exist. Libraries are actually out there. Or buying books and you buy it on Amazon and it shows up at your door. But 5 years ago, I didn't know how to do any of this. But I am one of YouTube's biggest supporters of, hey, try this, make videos. And every friend I have in real life, my parents, everyone I've ever grown up with, I tell all of them, make YouTube videos, because you never know. And when, in 2005, 2006, there wasn't a lot of this information out there.
Right.
So what I cared about was making silly little vlogs with the webcam. When I got a digital SLR, I was like, I really want to try filming this and see if it works. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But then I kind of evolved past that, and it's like, I learned this, isn't this cool? And in real life, I can't stop talking. I tell people stuff all day, every day. So I turned the camera on myself and just told people online. And I had really great feedback from that, people coming up to me and saying, wow, because of, I made one video called The Camera Wizard, I learned how to use my digital SLR. And it's amazing that that information is available for free. And this almost gets into kind of the religion of open source, and the religion of
Dan Brown just popped
Yeah, I saw your eyes light up. And I believe and you know, this is like kind of a political thing, but I believe all education should be free. I'm just kind of a hippie Canadian liberal, but we can all share this information and we can all learn together, because there was nothing that I did that somebody else couldn't do. Everyone can absolutely do what I've done exactly how I did it, because all I did was just type stuff into Google and
But
kind
you're the
of
one that did it.
figured it out. Yeah, but I think everyone else can do it too.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that, as long as they're willing to learn, willing to try, and willing to fail.
I'm still kind of stuck on the whole job hobby thing. No, but I thought it was a really great point. If I do say so.
Hit me with it.
All right, I'm ready for it. All right, ready to hit you with it. Okay. I think that a lot of YouTubers get stuck on the idea of, I have to be a YouTuber and I have to exclusively be a YouTuber, because I know I was stuck on that. And views come and views go, and the audiences are interested, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes you do a crazy project that fails and everyone leaves. But
you learn a lot.
No, totally. And that's aside from the point. I mean, I do YouTube because I love it, but in the interim period after Dan 3.0 and before I started working for Fuse, I was really struggling to figure out how to actually make it sustain itself. And that was really bad for the content that I was coming out with. So what I would say is, if your YouTubing isn't enough to sustain like a healthy, wonderful lifestyle, like there's no shame in having a real job.
No,
You know,
no, I'm not trying to say that at all.
No, I know. I've been so like that's I don't know. I've been chewing on that. For a while.
No. I mean, but I think that is a good point. The stigma of people that want to be popular YouTubers, and not everyone can be Mr. Guitar Man. I think that sometimes that point gets lost.
And I'm sure we all of us, and I'm sure many other people get the messages all the time. How do you get popular on YouTube? How do you get views on YouTube? Can you subscribe to me and let people know that I'm on YouTube so I can be popular on YouTube? It's like, well, if you're joining YouTube to be popular, you're not doing it for the proper reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of us, I doubt, started it to be YouTube famous. Like, it's a silly goal to have, because it means nothing. You get to create your own stuff, and you get to have it out there for an audience to find. And if that's what you're in it for, that's great. Don't go into doing it just to be popular.
Kardashian.
Yeah.
Make sure it starts as a hobby. I mean, it has to start as a hobby, but it has to always still be a hobby, even if it's also your career. Right. And since I've had a good since I've been working for Fuse and have that kind of guarantee, like my content on YouTube has improved dramatically, I feel like, as a result. So that's fun.
And there's a lot of people in this room, and I actually consider myself one of them, but there are people who will work 40 hours or more a week at a job to make money, and then take that money and spend it on making YouTube videos, because you enjoy doing it. I never want to lose that. Luckily, my 40 hours is making those YouTube videos, but if the money stopped, I'm going to go get a job at Best Buy, and I'm going to work 40 hours a week, and I'm going to keep making videos that will never stop.
And I think you'd be part of the 99%, 99.999% of people that use YouTube, that have that mindset, that experience. And so we're getting close to time, and I want to get some questions from the audience, but I also want to ask one thing that you said earlier about, you went from being a peer to being a role model, and I kind of want to get this across the board. Do you feel like you're a role model, and what kind of experience with your audience does that mean if you are a role model?
Yes, obviously, I feel like I'm a role model. Thank you.
But what kind of pressure does that come? I mean,
I don't know that.
does it come with pressure?
Well, yes and
I mean,
no.
when you think role model, you kind of like, I feel like that the connotation with that is kind of big.
Well, everyone's demographic is different. Like, I think most YouTubers actually have the opposite gender watching them.
Right.
I'm kind of an anomaly in that I'm 70-30 male-female. So for me, it really is the whole role model thing.
And then how does that influence your content if you are?
Well, I mean, my content is kind of a reflection of, when I'm documenting my life, it means I have to live my life in a way that, 13 and 17, 13 to 17. But when I'm just vlogging, I mean, basically I'm trying to encourage them to think about things critically. I don't know. Everyone, that's my personal thing. I don't know that that's a hard and fast rule for everyone who's on YouTube. But
we get it quite a lot, don't we? Like, there's sort of people that say, I started making YouTube sketches or YouTube videos because of you guys, and that like, to hear, like, I don't really put videos out and say, this is how I expect you to make videos or something like that, but the fact that people can go, this affected me in some way, that I now want to create something or something like that is kind of incredible.
Yeah, 3 minutes of nonsense inspires people to actually
Wanna
make stuff and be silly like us, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So,
I actually don't really see myself as a role model because I don't know, the people who've inspired me
I think you've inspired a fair amount of people.
I don't know if I see it that way. Maybe this is weird, but I'm more inspired by the friends in my life who work hard than somebody who makes an amazing video that I don't know, because I'm not connected with them in any way. And I've already mentioned it before, but Julian Smith amazes me. You know, pretty much everything he does. But I'm inspired by my friends who hang out at my house, and we want to push each other to be better. And we're kind of in it together. And I see the YouTube community as, we're kind of all in this together, because there are outside sources that do attack YouTube. There is traditional media that attacks YouTube. There's competitors to YouTube. And we're kind of all on the same team.
Right.
And I don't know, I just kind of encourage everyone to make videos along with me, I guess.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, I want to get a couple of questions if anyone. Yes, I saw your hand first.
But are we really on?
I think so.
Step back.
Do you want to have that debate?
I mean, see, this is what I'm debating whether we should get into. Question.
Thank you. Hi guys, Jonathan Hogwood, Hollywood Hogwood on YouTube. I just have a quick question for you guys. I just started my channel, and the #1 way I promote is by posting it on Facebook and Twitter, like on my friends' walls, but I feel like I'm eventually going to be that guy who constantly sends you invites on Facebook and you're just like, decline. So how would I go about promoting my video?
I would say it depends on the type of video, but also, like, I mean, if you got sent a video, think about it in the other way. If you got sent a video just from somebody, would you click on it? If it was like, please watch this or whatever, would you click on that sort of thing? So, I mean, I don't really know how to market something from the beginning. Like, literally, you just have to keep making things, and then hopefully that someone will find it and it will grow. But I honestly think that just posting things on everyone's walls could get a tad annoying.
If there's a piece you're particularly proud of and want your like real life friends to see, that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
But if, like for example, I started working for Fuse 4 months ago, and we're building out kind of a vlog style show with them, and I did a piece about Juggalos, fans of the Insane Clown Posse. And this was before I had really promoted it on my own YouTube channel, so this was kind of independent of my audience. And what we did is we literally went to, Juggalos have their own version of Facebook called Juggalo Book. And I went to Juggalo Book and posted it on their forum. I was like, hey, I made this piece about Juggalos. Yeah, you might like it. And it was posted on like 3 different Juggalo blogs and got like 5,000 views. So, I mean, just basically what you're making content about, there's probably an audience already out there, like a community already out there on the internet. Look for that and show them.
Anything to add, Corey?
Yeah, well, I guess back in the day, we don't use it anymore, but I was using MSN Messenger. And
You're dating yourself.
in talking with people, I've done this, I'm guilty. You message everybody and say, hey, check out my link, 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 and they never do. But when you engage someone in a real conversation and say, hey, I make videos, I worked really hard on this, what do you think? Here's the story about me making it. Here's the link. What do you, like, in a one-on-one conversation, it takes time, but it's worth it. What should I do better next time? As a real-life friend, I would appreciate your opinion. And you have that conversation with 50 people, and maybe it takes you 8 hours. But those 50 views are worth it, because those 50 people care. It wasn't spam. Spam, sorry.
One more?
I'm a little dismayed at a comment that you made regarding, quote, a real job. Do you really think, I'm curious about what each of you thinks, do you really think that YouTube or video making in that fashion and using that media is not a real job? And what classifies a real job? Is it the 8 to 5?
I was being a little self-deprecating. No, YouTube is absolutely a real job, and it can be. But if you're in kind of the middle ground where you're making, like $500 a month for the partner program, it's not enough to, pay rent and all your bills. Like, there's no shame in having another job. There's no. That's basically what I mean.
I like to say that there's real jobs and then there's unreal jobs, and this job is unreal.
That's cheesy.
It is, but I'm Canadian. And it definitely, it is a job, it's not work. And there's a distinction between that. Now, you can work at it, but that's just self-improvement. That's just getting better, that's growth.
Yeah. I completely agree with the fact that video making and filmmaking in general is a massive job. Like the last thing we shot from 6 in the evening until 1 in the morning, and that was hard work. We put a lot of effort into it. People think that making YouTube videos can be really, really simple and really, really easy, but it's as hard as anything else.
Yeah.
It's just people think that filmmaking is like, oh, I can make that.
They assume if they watch a 3-minute video, it only takes 3 minutes to make it.
Well, the great irony of it is that if you do it well, you make it look easy.
Yeah.
So people assume it's really easy and that you're really lazy. So.
So yeah, it's a real job. It's just that your parents would be like, go and get a job somewhere else.
All right, well, if we can get a big round of applause for our panel.